This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by Liquid IV. Summer is winding down, and that means it's time for all the fall rituals we look forward to this time of year, like weekend football or the return of pumpkin spice everything.
One fall ritual that deserves to be added is daily hydration and energy from Liquid IV. One stick of Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier Plus Energy delivers 100 milligrams of natural caffeine plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. An all-in-one formula that hydrates you better than water alone. It leaves you feeling focused and alert so you can accomplish all the things you want and need to do.
So tear, pour, and live more and start a new fall ritual with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Now, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we've got the lowdown on last night's Monday Night Raw, headed into blood. I wish they would have done the double D thing, you know, like they did in the... Come on, give me the double... Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. On the road to... Stumbled into that one, Larson.
You did. I saw it coming.
Did you now? Hey-oh. Anyways, Bad Blood's on the horizon. And we're going to talk today about a match that's actually going to go down next week. Jey Uso versus Bron Breakker, and this idea of even Jey Uso wants to know, when is he going to be main event Jey Uso? He's got his own story to finish, Larson. We're going to talk about that. Also, the New Day, the most celebrated. I'm not even saying one of, possibly, arguably, well, besides the Usos, maybe the most celebrated tag team in the history of professional wrestling. The New Day, are they coming apart at the seams? I thought there was some amazing stuff between Woods and Kofi last night. We had a killer match between Bianca Belair and Iyo Sky as well. We're going to talk about all that stuff, including some Braun Strowman circa 2017 type destruction.
Yeah, that was fun.
Him and Bronson Reed. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But first, we got some news from the world of pro wrestling. After all, we are a pro wrestling podcast, Larson. So
we are
pro wrestling news for now, anyways. For now, my goodness. What's up, man?
Let's talk about AJ Styles. Where's he been?
Where's he been?
He hasn't been on
Uncle
WWE
Alan?
TV. Yeah, where's Uncle Alan? He hasn't been on TV since losing to Cody Rhodes in an I Quit match at Clash at the Castle. That was in June. Technically, that was a premium live event. That wasn't even on television. Like WWE television. You know what I mean? Anyway, despite the extended absence from SmackDown, Fightful reports that AJ Styles is, in fact, healthy. Just isn't being utilized on TV, although he did wrestle against Cody in a variety of matches for the championship 7 times at house shows, July and August. So the question is, why isn't AJ on TV anymore? And what could they do with AJ Styles? I mean, SmackDown, as it is fairly bereft of heels. I know he already feuded with Cody for the title. That being said, LA Knight needs someone to feud with. You telling me an AJ LA Knight feud wouldn't be pretty solid? I think it would be.
Yeah. SmackDown desperately needs good heels right now. And AJ's a good heel. I don't know why they wouldn't be using. You know, it's a similar conversation. Why are they using Shinsuke Nakamura? I see these two guys, and I see two guys that could feud against each other. I see two guys who could team up with each other. I see two guys who should be doing stuff away from each other, with each other, whatever. They're two top-notch names, and AJ Styles especially, given that, you know, Nakamura has had a career I think anybody would be extremely proud to have, but AJ Styles is like, he's on some Mount Rushmores.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah.
If you look at what he
consider
did,
him one of, if not the greatest in-ring performer of all time. Yeah,
absolutely. So if you look at him and his career within WWE, I'm wondering if it's a situation where it's not that they don't bother to have anything for him creatively. I wonder if it's, we know what we want to do with our shows right now. In a couple months, we have a perfect spot for him because we've got stories leading into that. Triple H has been very patient trying to use his roster in a way that doesn't always necessitate them being here now, if it's more effective to use them at a later date. And there's been multiple examples of this.
Let me run something by you. This is a thought that just occurred to my head. I don't necessarily. It's trying to find connections. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about the New York Times game. That's tons of fun. I play it every day. Thanks to you.
It's an anxiety attack. I stopped.
Oh man, I drink my coffee. I sit there and I play it. It's great.
Oh yeah.
It helps me form connections in my brain. Hopefully, keep my brain sharp. Well, my brain doesn't feel that sharp today. Nonetheless, am I explaining what I'm about to say? There's been a
nothing, man. I love
over the
so
last
much.
pretty much since Triple H has taken over creative. We've seen a number of talents who are in their 40s, accomplished a lot during their time at WWE, either leave or just not be used. I'm talking, go back as far as Edge. Edge wanted to stay seemingly, but Triple H was like, hey, we got nothing for you. He left. You mentioned Nakamura. He hasn't really done anything since his feud with Cody.
Yeah.
We got AJ. Hasn't done anything since his feud with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bobby Lashley, in his 40s, has basically won. Not to say there's not more he could do. Obviously, there's more that all of them could have done. That would be in the right creative circumstances. But again, Lashley's someone who's highly decorated and, in his mid-late 40s. Mm-hmm. Again, I just see a few talents who have things in common, and I'm wondering if there's a philosophy where you got wrestlers who are getting up there in years, have plenty left in the tank, plenty to offer the company, no doubt. Essentially, if they're, rather than spending TV time telling stories with them, if the philosophy within W Creative is essentially, we want to emphasize and focus on younger talent and building them up. And it has unfortunately come at the expense of established talent that they could be obviously utilizing to help elevate the younger talent. I'm just trying to think of a reason.
Dude,
so many talents that are so many veteran talents aren't being utilized.
I think you might be onto something, and it's you gotta try to separate like your own personal thoughts about these talents when you do see a commonality like that. When I see AJ Styles, I think of the killer run he had 2016. It was almost 8 years ago, right?
Yeah, gosh.
When he was WWE champion for just a ton of time, and you think about everything. You look at, granted, I didn't see the whole match. I saw a lot of big clips with the Marufuji match. The guy can still go.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
But as Edge proved, I don't put Edge and AJ on the same level, but from WWE's perspective, maybe they are. Two guys who have done everything. AJ, you can't say he hasn't done everything. That's the truth. I think I will say this. Boy, you can't even make the Bobby compare, because I was like, okay, Edge in this last run, besides when he first came back, didn't really get, like, once he was in it, didn't really get the reactions that others get. Bobby sure shit did.
Yeah, he did.
That one is still mind-boggling to me, because that dude was getting reactions. That's crazy. That's still crazy to me. When,
it is.
That's the one thing. It's like, I can understand if you've got a guy like Edge who, yeah, he did so many things, but he's just not getting the reactions. If you look at the ratings or whatever, maybe in the quarter hours, he's not drawing.
Yeah.
Bobby was getting, when you have people are getting reactions, when you have Bobby Lashley and that crowd is like, no, we want this guy.
Yeah.
That boggles my mind. I kind of feel like AJ's on that kind of level. I think people really still like AJ Styles,
Absolutely.
but maybe WWE doesn't see it that way. What if you had this Netflix deal coming up? What if they do, like, remember how what did they bring back WCW, but similar to WC? No, listen, don't give me that look. Similar to WCW, they loaded up with them old timers, man. That's what they were like, all the people that WWE wanted, we're going to bring over, we're going to bring Shinsuke, AJ, re-sign Bobby to a WCW. And that's why they're signing up. Have you noticed? Everybody's been announcing they've been doing all these Legends deals now.
Yeah. No, I've
nostalgia contracts.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to, Edge wasn't getting much of reactions.
They had to add Daniel Bryan to that Mania match so they can get stacked by the Tribal Chief.
I know. Nonetheless, though, he's Edge. He's the most decorated wrestler in the company's history if you don't take into account 24/7 or hardcore title. He's won more titles than anybody else in the history of the company.
Yeah.
There's beating Edge would still carry some weight if they put him in stories from time to time. I'm not saying he's jobbing out to everybody.
Yeah.
Put him in stories from time to time with talent they want to help develop. And in the end, those talents go over.
Yeah.
There's still value in having someone like Edge around in that instance. Maybe that's not something he was interested in doing. If that's the case, then, they part ways amicably. Edge goes off to AEW and seemingly had a good time until he jumped off the top of the cage.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. But, dude, listen, man. I'm telling you, they bring back Bobby and MVP, the Hurt Business, put him in WCW. Bring back AJ Styles, WCW, Shinsuke, WCW. Another old-timer, LA Knight, put him in WCW. There's a wealth of names there. What
about CM Punk? He's about the same age as all them.
That dude's old, but he is relevant as shit. People love CM Punk.
I do like CM Punk.
Let's talk about. What are things? What are things do you think they could do? I've already said mine. He could be the cornerstone of, what did they call it in TNA? They had TNA had like their old person. They had their own old person's.
Oh yeah, it was the
King of the Mountain, or was it something different? Chat, let us know. What was it? Was the red belt, right?
They had
Booker T held it, and Foley held it at one point.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett had the King of the Mountain title at one point too.
Yeah, I think it was called King of the Mountain.
I think so.
The old timers title, dude. Come up with an old
title. All right, Aussie says a Legends title.
Yeah, dude, they should do a Legends WWE Legends title. They can use that's the Winged Eagle. You bring up the Winged Eagle, and you have to have a certain amount of time in the company. And if you win the championship, guess what? You actually get a pension.
Wow. You get post-retirement benefits?
Right. Yes,
pension,
man.
You get some health insurance.
TRICARE? Yeah, dude.
So Aussie says it was changed to the King of the Mountain. It was a Legends title, then King of the Mountain. So
okay, King of the Mountain sounds cooler. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they utilized AJ Styles as, like, he went to Noah to wrestle Marufuji.
Oh, ambassador.
Yeah.
Ambassador Styles.
Have him do a program in TNA.
Yeah, that'd be crazy if they didn't do that. They got this NXT TNA thing. What if he?
I don't know what the situation is with JBL going to a bunch of promotions. I don't know if that's connected with WWE at all. Maybe it's not. I don't know. He just shows up and usually hits someone with the clothesline and leaves.
Got a duster.
He was there was the story at Triple Mania, I think, was that JBL was now an investor in the company in AAA.
Yeah.
So I don't know if JBL is going to these different promotions and it's going to be some huge, I doubt it, but WWE thing.
JBL,
MLW and GCW and AAA, I don't know. But, have AJ go around wrestling at all these various promotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine TNA, AJ versus Shane Mercer in GCW, Steve.
Oh, dude, the Sky. What about him versus Gringo Loco?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I think there's a ton of different things. I wonder if some of it obviously is probably bandwidth. This NXT TNA thing, I think they're doing everything. I don't think they're doing everything they can, but I think they're doing everything they can within the bandwidth they have, within the logistics of producing live television every week. You got this move to the CW. I have no doubt this is going to be a longer arrangement between the two. But it would be wild if you got AJ Styles. You're like, I don't know what to do with him. And they don't use him for that TNA thing, given his history there. That would be absolutely. I'd love to think, and you're absolutely right in that there does seem to be a commonality with these older wrestlers, with the veterans. that maybe they just don't have anything for them, as opposed to they got something, but it's going to be down the line. I view AJ in that way, but what you're saying does actually make, sadly, some sense.
I mean, but then you have someone like Sheamus, who apparently, according to Fightful, just re-signed.
Yeah,
with the company, but he has an obvious. He stated it on TV. He's an opportunity to state it too, that he wants that Intercontinental title. Because right now what he's doing with Pete Dunne seems to be the template of what they could be doing with so many veterans that they're apparently not.
Mm-hmm.
Get them involved in stories with talent they want to build up, and whether the talent they want to build up wins the feud or not, they win some matches along the way. Get some stories going. Get some character development, on to the next thing and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, there's so many veterans in WWE who are not being utilized or haven't been utilized that have since left, that it's confusing why they don't use them in a comparable manner.
Also trying to figure out, and Heather points it out, this is exactly what I was about to say. Sheamus was the guy that Triple H thought would be the future of the WWE.
That's true. He's old workout buddy, right?
There's always that old thing of like, who's a Triple H guy and who's not a Triple H guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know where AJ stands and all that, but certainly, and it's weird to me because I think Nakamura was a Triple H guy, given how he was treated in NXT under Triple H. So it was always kind of interesting to me that, maybe Nakamura's job was to bring Okada to the fold, and he's like, yeah, sorry guys, he went to AEW. Okay, Nakamura, well. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. So I don't know what the deal is, but they do have a loaded roster. And as we see with this Bron Breakker, Jey Uso thing, they are utilizing a lot of these younger talent, and they've got a loaded roster in NXT.
Yep.
And they're going to have to be relieving that pressure as well, sooner probably than later. Let's talk about, let's pay some bills right now so we can get into an uninterrupted conversation about Jey Uso.
Yeah, let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. There was once a time in my youth when I was quite a curious child. When I first got into baseball, I used to buy baseball cards and open up the packs and then look at the backs of the cards and study all the stats back there. Try to memorize a lot of them. But somewhere along the way to adulthood, I kind of lost that curiosity. Even when I do find something that I want to learn, the drive to actually learn it just isn't there.
Yeah, man. No, I agree with that. I've seen it with my own kids. They're constantly learning and growing, and perhaps it's due to everything we have to concern ourselves with as adults. I've found that sense of curiosity certainly isn't what it used to be for me. But therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
And I've spoken about it before here on the show. My mid-20s, my life was basically taken over by severe anxiety, and I had definitely lost any sense of wonder or curiosity. Eventually, I realized that I had to go to therapy, and therapy helped me learn the skills I needed to better cope with my anxiety and got my life back on track and put me on the path to hopefully becoming a better Larson. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. Football is back. The weather is getting cooler. That must mean fall is nearly upon us, Steve. And well, I'm starting to work weekend football watch and back into my fall rituals. One ritual that remains constant for you and I year-round are our semi-weekly one-on-one basketball games.
That's right, man. Temperatures may be down this time of year, but hydration up. Still a priority when we're hooping. And hydration and energy deserves to be a priority this fall with Liquid IV.
Steve, I would think after all these years that we've known each other, you know me pretty well. And I don't think anyone would describe me as a high-energy individual. So it helps me tremendously when I get a pep in my step when we're out playing one-on-one. And one stick of Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier plus energy and 16 ounces of water delivers 100 milligrams of natural caffeine plus 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. Liquid IV has also combined their awesome peach flavor with the highly requested blackberry to provide an all-in-one formula that hydrates better than water alone and leaves you feeling focused and alert so that I can accomplish all the things that I want to do on and off the basketball court.
So tear, pour, and live more and start a new fall ritual with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com. Real quick here in the chat, we got a re-upped membership. David Matushek says, who do you think should be the next female member of the Wyatt Six? Is Alexa Bliss too obvious an answer? Where's Alexa Bliss been, man? Bring her back.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if she came back, and it would make a lot of sense for her to join up with the Wyatt Six. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Also, Larson, do you want to talk to the people a little bit before we talk about Yeet Jey Uso?
About engagement.
About yeeting the like button.
Yeah, yeet. Smash that like button. Odd number of times, though, because you do it an even number of times, you like, you unlike. That's what happens.
Just do it one time.
Just do it once. Or an odd number of times. Anyways, engagement leads to better success for videos and channel. That's my understanding. That's how the YouTube algorithm works.
Correct.
Then again, I'm not a smart individual.
Well.
So, nonetheless, it's got to be good. You leave comments.
Leave comments.
You hit that like button.
Comments are very important. Let us know who else, what other old timers besides names like Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and LA Knight do you want to see on the new, soon to be confirmed WCW programming?
Now that you're saying that wrestlers in their mid 40s are old timers.
I mean, look at you. You just said you got no energy. You're not.
But I'm not a highly conditioned athlete like AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley. I'm a dude who has to muster up the energy to work out in his garage 3 times a week.
Compared to Bron Breakker, these are old timers, man. Old timers. Oh, yeah. Mr. Dope's got it right as well. WCW hiring old timers. They should go after Leo Rush. Lost a couple steps, head over to WCW. Isn't that right, Mr. Dope?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Wow, the slander, Mr. Dope. Interesting. Darius Corey says, Bliss had a baby. Right, yeah. Got to get back into it, though, man. Got to get back into it. You know, drop that baby. Get back to wrestling. Ricochet, old timer. Bring him back to WCW. Yeah, let us know what old timers you guys want to see. We got a super chat here from the Samurai. $10 says, when I was a kid, my friends and I fantasy booked a WWE Legends division. Instead of a title belt, we designed a trophy and called it the WWE Immortals Cup. I'm a sucker for non-belt championships. I'm a hard nay on that. I need a title belt, man.
I like the idea of it.
Immortals is a great name for the championship.
It is,
though.
and I like the Heritage Cup. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, it's great, but then they have to carry around that 20-pound trophy, and it's so unwieldy.
I love the idea of a trophy for like a tournament winner, like the G1. They got that wild thing they have, you know, and then it translates into a briefcase. I like that stuff, but yeah, in terms of like being a title holder or championship holder, give me a good old fashioned belt. As you can see, I love
what about the shield that comes in 2 parts that you put together when you're the tag champs in Progress?
It was clever. Nothing wrong. It was very, very clever, unique idea that Progress had there. We also have the Friendo Club setup, as I mentioned earlier. David Matushek here re-upped his Friendo Club setup. We're about to make a big push for this next Predictions Challenge, Larson. I feel like if we get the word out in a proper way, I'm going to start advertising the latest winners for the Big Blue Predictions Challenges because they deserve to be known and celebrated, because winning the Big Blue Predictions Championship is a big, big deal here at the Friendo Club at Going In Raw. And there's one way you can participate, and that's by getting that Friendo Club set up. And we offer a couple different ways of getting that. Number one, click join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. It's a channel membership. It's $5 a month to get access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge that we do for all these big premium live events and pay-per-views. You also get access to our old bonus episodes, which we're going to be bringing back soon, and access to the question threads for all the shows that we do. So you can participate with the show a bit more and be more involved here at the Friendo Club. You can also go to patreon.com/Steven Larson and click on the Friendo Club setup there. Again, it's $5. You get access to all that same stuff. So consider joining the Friendo Club and get that Friendo Club set up. So let's talk about Jey Uso. Oh, no.
Yeet.
Yeah, let's talk about Jey Uso, and then we'll talk about the AEW stuff in a little bit. Jey Uso stood tall during the promo segment of him and Bron Breakker's promo, which I thought was a really good deal there. Bron, week by week, is getting better and better on the mic, more and more comfortable. The closing moments of Raw saw Jey Uso attempt to make the save on the Rhea and Damian when the Judgment Day were getting beat down.
Yeah.
And he had to wait a second for Bron Breakker to load up that spear because he came down to make the save and had to stand there and look around for Bron Breakker, who speared the living crap out of him. I know this isn't the go home.
It is, because the match is next week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, yeah. I kept on thinking Bad Blood. This is the go home. That's what I'm talking about. This is the go home. Match is on Raw. Now, conventional wisdom is Judgment Day is going to get involved here.
Yeah.
Bron Breakker did them a favor, staving off the save. They might do him a favor, keeping his hands off that Intercontinental Championship. Everybody's always bugging about Jey Uso and when he's going to get that big win. And even him last night at his promo said, when will I finally become main event Jey Uso? So, Larson, I ask you the question. Next week on Raw, is he going to become main event Jey Uso? It will be the main event match, by the way. But
it will be. It should
the
be.
championship is the thing.
I'm pessimistic, though I really want it to happen. I really want it to happen because I know he's super popular, and his popularity doesn't seem to be in any danger of waning at all. You know, he's involved in the A story on Raw. That's the Terror Twins Judgment Day stuff. If there is a War Games match, and it is Judgment Day versus, you know, whether it's all of Judgment Day and then Priest and Rhea and then Jey, he'll be involved in that. But I don't know, man. I just kind of feel like he's had so many huge opportunities, and I understand like every huge loss for him has not damaged his popularity whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But at a certain point, and I don't know where that point is. I'm not saying we've reached it. I'm not saying if he loses next Monday we've reached it. At a certain point, fans will be like, all right, well, how much more am I going to invest in this dude just to see him lose every major opportunity he gets? And maybe that's not a huge concern. But, you know, I understand in the professional world of professional wrestling where these choreographed fights where the winners are predetermined, nonetheless, as a fan, you invest in these characters' stories. And you want to see his story reach a satisfying conclusion. And as a fan of Jey Uso, that would be winning a singles championship. And so I hope it happens. I'm pessimistic it is. You can have him winning that Raw. They can have a rematch down the line. That's when Judgment Day interferes and costs him the title. That can lead directly to War Games, maybe. I don't know. Even if it's just like a month and a half reign, it's something. But again, I'm pessimistic it's going to happen. Who knows?
When did LA Knight won the title at SummerSlam, right? The U.S. title, right?
Yeah, about a year after he fought. He was
so that was what, August of 24, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here's a couple numbers for you, because I think LA Knight is actually a decent template to look at when you're looking at people that the audience really gets behind. So much so to the point that they are asking, nay, begging to get demanding to get this guy or gal the symbol of validation from the company that you have heard us. This is our guy. LA Knight became LA Knight again, ditching the Max Dupree gimmick. September, according to Wikipedia, September 30th, 2022.
All right, so 2 years later, basically, he was finally singles champion.
Right. 2023 was his year, right? That was the year that everybody was like, oh my God, he went from trying his damnedest to be a bad guy, and people loved his shtick so much that he went good guy and never looked back. And you could argue perhaps that his time was that when he won the U.S. title, WWE, they made sure that he was legit. They put him in Roman programs, and there was a couple moments in those Roman programs where, look, we never thought he was going to beat Roman, but they did some cool stuff. When he interrupted Roman's entrance, that was pretty cool. They had some good promo stuff going. And so, they made sure he's legit. I think they know that Jey Uso is legit in a much more... Jey Uso, by the way, one of the greatest performances in the history of pro wrestling, maybe even the greatest performance from a character perspective during the Bloodline stuff.
Absolutely.
You can agree with that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I think they understand that from a character standpoint, this guy has it. And I think they had to take some time with LA Knight to make sure that that was the case. So, yeah, it took around just short of 2 years for LA Knight to get that symbol of validation, if you will. I don't expect Jey Uso to have to wait until, because Jey Uso showed up on Raw September 2nd, 2023, so about a year ago. I think it's just as likely that they spend the next year, and maybe an Intercontinental Championship run is part of that. If they keep Jey Uso going on this trajectory, he's gonna be world champion. Not just Intercontinental Champion. He's gonna be world champion. And if Roman sticks around, the dynamics that could potentially be playing out a year from now are goosebumps. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For Jey Uso to go down this path. And I feel like, as fans, I understand it's difficult to be patient sometimes. But his steam ain't running out anytime soon. He gets more, and especially with this Rhea business, he gets more and more popular. Now, would it make sense for him to get the Intercontinental Championship before the World Champ? Absolutely. If we're going back to the template of the Attitude Days when, the Triple H's and the Rocks, Stone Colds get the Intercontinental Championship.
Before the Attitude Era. Yeah, that was usually the path. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I don't know if it's going to be next week, although the go-home math might play out. I mean, he stood tall with the title, but then Bron Breakker stood tall with the spear. So maybe that is in his favor. I still think it's going to be a Judgment Day wonky thing. But I honestly think that if you look at his merchandise, which is, number one, really well done.
It is really well done.
But also clearly really good, really well selling merchandise for them to continue variations of it. I think the Jey Uso experiment, I think is as Bron Breakker said last night, you've been on the roster 14 years. Somebody who is so associated with the tag team, with the Usos, especially the Usos, where, for the longest time, as Roman said, I think correctly, people couldn't tell one from the other, to have so successfully broken out the way he has. I don't think fans have much to worry about with him winning the big one. It might take some more time, but I think WWE clearly sees that this guy could be a top solo competitor carrying the title, carrying the world title anyways on Raw. I think that is definitely the case. Whether it's going to happen next week or not, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I get it. And I guess it depends if they see Jey Uso as world championship caliber wrestler or not, and you would think through everything he's done the last 4 years, 5 years almost, the answer would be unquestionably yes. But we don't know what designs they have for him. We don't. And, as a fan, there's that unknown that kind of lingers over everything. And so it makes the impatience potentially a bit more understandable.
Sure. Absolutely.
We're
also conditioned to, we're clearly still conditioned to understand the pattern or lack thereof with Vince McMahon as opposed to Paul Levesque.
Yeah. Where so many people would get immensely over and then they'd piss away all the momentum. So yeah, I mean, I'd like it to happen, if it would fit with Braun's story too, depending on the finish of the match, where now he's champion. Now he has to learn to be champion. All right. Makes a mistake, loses it, gets it back. That's Braun's story, has been since NXT. And, there's a way they could approach it that would work. It fit the stories of everybody involved. And then Braun would get it right back. Even if Jey wins it, I don't see him having it a long time though, Just don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a million things they could do. It's funny because Jay could potentially be the linchpin for Jay could potentially be a linchpin for the two A stories because he's wrapped up in the Judgment Day and he could easily get re-wrapped up in the Bloodline stuff. And I don't know if that helps or hurts his chances for the WWE or for the World Heavyweight Championship or the Intercontinental Championship. I'm sorry, at this point I should say. But no, I think that I just think that they do things a little bit different these days. Is there any chance that next week we'll get a Mankind-esque wins the world title, super overbooked moment where Jey Uso does become main event Jey Uso with that Intercontinental Championship?
How about this? Match happens. Judgment Day tries to cost Jey the title. You imagine a finish where you have all of Judgment Day, you have all the Terror Twins, you have the LWO out there because they're feuding with Judgment Day still.
Yeah.
Plus the New Day, which we can get to them in a little bit, where Kofi's out trying to help the LWO, and Xavier Woods is like, Kofi, what are you doing? Let's focus on our tag endeavors. Let's get our shit together.
Yeah.
Let's not get involved in this too. And given the New Day's own history with the Usos and Jey.
Yeah.
Just have like 20 people out there
for
the finish of this match.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's the Mankind-esque title win for Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Just a wildly overbooked where everybody on the roster is out there, save for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, which we'll talk about here in a second. And where are they? Do we know where are they next week? Do we know?
I don't remember. Are they in Sacramento on Friday for SmackDown?
Yeah, they're in Sac this Friday.
Here, I'll look at their schedule.
But if it's a good crowd, especially, which I mean, Jey always gets good crowds, but if they do this match to the degree where you get just everybody out there and then they execute the finish where Jey actually wins, dude.
Ontario, California.
Huge wrestling market. Huge wrestling market.
Yeah, Sacramento. Here in Sacramento on Friday, and then Ontario on Monday, and then next Friday, Oklahoma City.
Huge wrestling market. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Ontario is going to be a lot of people from LA going down there, I guess.
I don't know. That's a long drive.
It is a long drive. Yeah. So
even with decent traffic, it's a long drive.
Everything in LA is a long drive, But it's WWE, man. It's hot right now.
It is. It is the hot ticket. And if if there's a lot of excitement about the prospect of Jey Uso winning that Intercontinental title, maybe.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because it's going to main event.
Yeah. Well, better.
Hour one. What would clue you into this being a Jey? Because sometimes when they build these matches up in a big deal and you just sort of get the sense in the air that, this might happen. What would that look like? What should we be on the lookout? Hour one.
You have what could be considered a go home segment earlier in the show where Braun stands tall.
Braun tries to. Braun tries to take Jey out, or the Judgment Day tries to take Jey out in advance of the match. There you go.
Or I mean, the flip side of that coin though is that's a protected loss for Jey.
Sure. Yeah.
He gets wrecked by Judgment Day before the match.
I think if we have like a prolonged Jey Uso memory lane video package.
Yeah, that would probably be
that's one example of that.
Oops, sorry says looking for a new Yeet merch. If Monday morning they got a bunch of new Jey Uso stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one. If like people who don't usually hype up Jey Uso on the roster, people who aren't really around or not connected to it, are going up to him being like, "Hey, go get this done. Go get this done." That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it should be interesting. I don't know. Again, I'm expecting Judgment Day to wonk this thing, but they have an opportunity if it fits within their story, if that's what they want to tell, for Jey Uso to do that. And I do think that long term, wrapping Jey Uso back up into the Bloodline stuff, even if it's like a year, even if it's not for this year's War Games, even if it's a year from now or 2 years from now or whatever, I don't think that's a bad idea. You know, I think that there's he can accomplish so much, and then come back to Roman and be like, "Look what I did, Oos."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything about CM Punk's promo last night? His slow talking promo. He did a slow talking promo. That's
he
not
very
really his
much
thing.
did a slow talking promo, and it's hard not to think about the CM Punk, and I understand he's a completely different performer, different individual now. But it's hard not to think of how the CM Punk of 2011 to 2014 would have delivered this promo as opposed to what we saw last night.
He'd just be blaming management for everything.
But in terms of the level of intensity behind it, this was just like simmering intensity as opposed to, in 2011 to 2014, he would have been on the verge of exploding with intensity. It's different approaches.
The neck vein would be,
Yeah.
pulsing. It's a No Country for Old Men thing. That's what they do when they get older, man. You know, they get more, the pressure goes inward as opposed to outward.
Internal as opposed to external.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So much of this blood feud between him and Drew has kind of been executed in a certain degree against expectation. You know, their first match at SummerSlam was very much rooted in story as opposed to violence.
Yeah.
And, there's been violent interactions leading up to, both their matches. But it hardly to the extent that you could consider like over the top. We've had 2 segments where Drew has left Punk laying in his blood.
Mm-hmm.
Punk has not done the same to Drew. He's cost him opportunities more than he's actually like physically wrecked him.
Yeah.
And even the strap match they had, much more violent than the previous bout, but hardly as violent as you could expect a strap match to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that's an intentional step to not play into the expectations of what the story seemingly could, and by said expectation should be, but to kind of do it a little bit differently to add some wrinkles to it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Who do you see coming out of this match to the win?
Punk's winning.
You think so?
Yeah, Punk's winning.
Why is that?
Because he's going to win the rubber match and go on to try to feud with Gunther. I mean, I think that makes all the sense in the world.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like Drew's got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I feel like
because
Punk
might get hurt. Is that why?
I think it's a possibility.
I
mean, it's funny because when he does the promo, number one, and I mentioned this on a Wrestle Juice video, and there was a lot of people who fell more in line with what you had to say, with your thoughts on it. The one thing is, Punk is the more obviously he's like the most popular guy in the company, one of them, anyways. He's like top 3. He's so incredibly popular. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I get the they might want to do him versus Gunther, in which case Gunther wins that. But I don't know. I think for number one, the SummerSlam match was such a goof match. It was like Drew won, but Seth Rollins' bullshit was so wrapped up into it that it's like hard to take that as, oh, Drew dominated. The second match, Punk dominated. Dropped him with like 5 GTSs.
Yeah, made him tap out.
Made him tap out and touched all 4 corners. So Drew he's got to win, but it's like kind of a crap win in my estimation. And so I feel like in that respect, for Drew to maintain some momentum, I feel like Drew's got to win this. Because Punk is he's number one, he's size-wise, he's the underdog. Mm-hmm. Look at the guy. He's older also by 7 years. And on top of that, if he wins, there might be the expectation that he's got to do the Saudi show. I don't know if Punk's going to do the Saudi show. And they could easily just say, hey, Hell in a Cell was so brutal, he's not going to do another match until War Games, until the Gunther thing. And that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I don't think, I'll put it this way, I don't think it's as cut and dry. I wouldn't be shocked if either of these, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, it's definitely going to be one guy or the other. I just think in my estimation, there are more advantages to having Drew win. There's also the old thing of like, I don't know what kind of schedule Punk is on. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because he was injured for that extended period of time. And is he going to take a bunch of time off? Drew McIntyre, I think there's a better chance of him being there more often than Punk. He's younger. He just signed a new contract, et cetera.
Well, I mean, I think the odds of them being on shows frequently is about even. As far as who's going to wrestle on weekly TV more, obviously it's going to be Drew McIntyre, without a doubt. But, you can have Punk drop promos, be involved in segments with whoever his opponent is, maybe some physicality, and just reserve the matches for the pay-per-views. And that doesn't mean he's off TV for long stretches. It just means he's not wrestling on TV.
I mean, they could do this. Drew could lose and come back the next night and say, I might have lost the match, but who's standing here now and who's at home licking their wounds? Mm-hmm. Just being in Hell in a Cell, even if it's a loss, is still being in Hell in a Cell. And, I destroyed that guy so much. And he might have pinned me, but really, who's the ultimate winner because I'm still here? They could totally do that kind of thing.
Totally.
So I don't know. I honestly don't think it's that cut and dry, but I guess we'll see. Nothing about last night's promo told me one thing or another. I thought it was an effectively delivered promo from Punk. And I guess I just appreciate that the guy is still out there. He hasn't been injured during this feud, and we should all be grateful for that. And if we get a CM Punk Gunther match at War Games, oh my God. That's gonna be a hell of a match.
All confidence points on Gunther, though.
I'm with you on that one. Look, I love Punk. Don't get me wrong. He's the real world. He's still the real world's AEW champion. Lost it to Drew McIntyre for a second, but won it back at that strap match. But yeah, Gunther would win that.
Absolutely.
Gunther would totally win that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we get to segment breakdown, let's talk about the New Day.
Oh,
coming up
boy,
on
that was good stuff.
10 years. I mean, they've already got to 10 years. Their 10-year anniversary. Hey,
I guess.
like us. As a tag team, as a faction. And it seemed to be falling apart before our eyes last night. Karrion Kross wins again. He drove that wedge between them. And last night during their tag team title match, it was, a melee on the floor because LWO comes down to the ringside area to try to fend off Judgment Day at Kofi's request. But he didn't tell Xavier Woods.
Mm-hmm.
You find that out after the match. But during match, Kofi takes out everybody on the floor and starts brawling down there with members of Judgment Day. This distracts the referee while Woods hits his finisher and has, I think, JD covered, pin. But the ref ain't there to count the pin.
Yeah.
And so Woods has to go down to the floor, tell the ref to get in the ring. It ends up with Judgment Day getting the win, retaining the tag titles. And Kofi gets back in the ring and checks on Woods, and Woods pushes him away. Says, I'm tired of this. Something has to change. And they have a segment later backstage where Xavier Woods is shouting at the LWO. Who told you? I told everybody. I don't want anybody getting involved in this. And Kofi steps in and says, I asked them to come to ringside to counter the numbers of the Judgment Day. And Woods is like, I'm your partner. You didn't clue me in on any of this? So, they're doing a good job of really, this is more than teasing. This is, New Day is just barely holding together at this point. And you got to wonder, is this going to lead to breakup? What is this going to lead to?
Dude, honestly, it seems like we're just at the dawn of a really good story. I don't know if it's going to be a breakup. I don't know if this is going to be something where they just have to get through this and then they'll come back stronger and they'll beat Judgment Day for the titles. I don't know. But talk about finally some relevancy with New Day again and addressing The one thing that I love that Kofi said last night was we didn't need numbers before because we had E. And now it's just us. And like, yeah, they've talked about that before, but never in such a punctuated, dramatic fashion. It's always been like, hey, you know, we miss Big E, but the show's got to go on, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, but this is like, this was real. It was within the context of the story. It was real in that it felt, it was so dramatic. It was so like, we're not on the same page. You're out getting help. I told people to stay in the back. We don't need them. Yes, we do, because we don't have our big dude anymore. Like, get real with this. And they both have great points. The one thing that I really wish they would have done is subvert the expectation by having Xavier Woods wear the more colorful attire and Kofi wear, because Woods was wearing black and Kofi was wearing bright green. And, you know, those things matter. As you've said before, like the Danielson thing, right? That stuff matters. And because everybody expects Woods to turn heel. And I hope they don't do that, because it doesn't have to be he's a bad guy now. It can absolutely be you have destroyed this relationship because you're not talking to me. And what the fuck were you doing spending all day splat on the outside with all these guys, distracting the ref? Like, we had an opportunity here. And that ref, by the way, in storyline should totally be fired.
Oh yeah.
That was horrible. They staged that so well that you're sitting there screaming at the TV at that ref. The crowd started chanting, "Ref, you suck."
Yeah.
Because he's just down there.
Yeah. They did a good job of having the ref in the foreground try to, you know, break things up there, and you have Woods in the background with the cover. Yeah. Yeah, it was really well filmed.
Because like the point of it was us understanding so perfectly Xavier Woods' point of view. And that look on his face while he's sitting there pinning the opponent. It was just so perfectly done. And they got like, it wasn't a close-up, but they held on him. The camera held on him while you're just sitting there, and that look of just like, what the fuck is on his face? That was just a perfectly executed moment. And then the backstage performance was something that, you know, Woods is up for this. You know, Kofi's up for this. You know, this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, it's not like it used to be where, oh, let's break them up, and then they go their merry ways for their thing. I don't know if this is going to devolve into a blood feud. I'm here for that shit, though.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if this turns into blood feud, it's going to be goddamn really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody has to come out of it a bad guy or a good guy or anything. It's just, they're just telling stories about people who have, you know, normal, you know, what do you do when your best days are behind you? How do you deal with that? How do you keep the good days going? Yeah. And if you can't do that, how do you deal with it?
Yeah. And, you know, I like that they addressed Big E not being there. And the way Kofi delivered it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and with
harsh reality is what he's giving you.
Yeah. And with Kofi mentioning E, I mean, you can't discount the possibility that he gets involved in this story. Like, we don't know. Last we heard from him, he's nowhere close to apparently coming back as a wrestler. But gosh, it'd be great to have him back on TV in some capacity on a somewhat regular basis.
Dude, I mean, him stepping in to try to salvage this relationship where he can't add what needs to be added to this, the muscle, the physical presence during matches, the things that matter. If he can't be there for that, the helplessness that he'd feel seeing the family get torn apart, and words only go so far. You got to get wins.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there to get them on the same page physically out there, then that could be some really interesting stuff for Big E as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this really has the potential, and I think we saw the first shade of it last night, especially, to be really special stuff, to be really good stuff.
I think so.
DJE points out, just from a broader sense, this is the kind of storytelling we need for mid-card acts who aren't in the title chase. I know it's difficult to give that level of attention to every segment on television, but that should be the goal.
They should be
That
the goal.
really should be the goal.
It really should be. And obviously a team like the New Day, who've been together for a decade, wealth of history, and so much they can call back to during their run. And not everybody has that, understandably. But you got to find that thing that makes the feud or the story personal and not make it feel contrived.
Yeah.
It's got to be organic. It's got to resonate. And maybe that's easier to do with, the New Day because they have that history, or anybody who's had history. But you got to find that somehow. Two people who are feuding that may have never feuded before, never interacted before. You got to find that thing. I know it's tough, but that's what really makes the stories interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. What's also kind of interesting is that we've talked about 3-4 different feuds, stories, whatever. And yet none of what we've talked about has been what's technically the A story on Raw, and that's a Judgment Day situation. But everything we've talked about, with the exception, I think, of Punk and Drew, has been touched by or glued together by the Judgment Day stuff. We saw that with the New Day. We saw that with Jey. And I think it's such an interesting use of the A story. And that's what we've talked about with the Bloodline, why SmackDown has felt kind of mid, because the Bloodline these days doesn't kind of flow through everything on SmackDown.
No.
With Raw, Judgment Day kind of flows through most of the big stories that's being told. And I think it's a great use of that. I thought in terms of that, the A story, the final image, Finn Balor dropping 5 coup de grace on Damian Priest, I thought it was an incredibly effective way to paint Finn Balor, who too often Judgment Day are seen as hapless.
Yeah.
And then this week they're not.
Threats.
And Finn looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
He looks amazing when he's being this aggressive.
Yeah, he does. He does. Obviously we're kind of at the point of the Terror Twins Judgment Day feuds where they're trading off weeks of who stands tall.
Yeah.
Who gets the upper hand. And although I think it's 2 weeks in a row now where Judgment Day stood tall. They stand tall last week. I don't remember.
Oh man, I forget. It's sort of like, it is sort of the thing where it kind of week to week sort of everything flows into it. So
yeah.
Wasn't it Terror Twins and Jey standing tall last week?
Is that what it was? All right.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
So it is this alternating weeks of who stands tall. But like you said, what gives it dimension and depth is how Judgment Day infuses, or the story is infused in so many other aspects of the show. You got Jey challenging Braun for the Intercontinental title. Who knows? The Judgment Day is going to get involved next week. Entirely possible. Tag team situation, same thing. Judgment Day's champs, New Day's falling apart. And even though the heart of the Judgment Day Terror Twin story is what happened in the main event, there's so many kind of branches that are coming out from that are getting involved in other stories. And that's, when pro wrestling's at its best, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
The stories overlap. People cross paths even though they may be involved in other stories. And that just isn't really happening on SmackDown. That's like the one major thing that stands out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that just doesn't happen on SmackDown. Everybody's kind of involved in their own thing, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, we can jump into it.
Yeah.
We can speak the praises of Iyo Sky and Bianca Belair.
Yeah, here. Yeah, Jey and Priest won the tag match last week.
That's right.
Alt Zero Star says that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That.
So we get a bunch of people arriving at the arena. Terror Twins, Judgment Day, Damage Control, Bianca and Jade, Braun, Bronson Reed. Punk also arrives, pulls into the arena, just walks from the backstage area directly to the ring because he's got a promo. Wearing a Bret Hart Roots of Fight hoodie.
Roots of Fight hoodie, man. Yeah.
Got a Roots of Fight hat back there.
It wasn't a hoodie. It was just a straight up sweatshirt.
Sorry,
I got the hoodie.
The crew neck. The crew neck.
Yeah, crew neck. There you go. Yeah. So he shows up and he's slow talking. He basically says, depending on how you feel about me, he says, I'm sorry, I'm at the point in my career where everybody asks me, how many more matches do I have left in these old bones? He says, depending on how you feel about me, you're either disappointed or what I say makes you tremendously happy because it's way more than you think. I pause this real quick. I have no idea. I wonder, and I hope that he's unlocked some sort of formula for altering his style maybe to protect him a little bit more. Maybe. I don't know.
So many of his injuries have just had him on, like, apart from diving into the crowd, like tearing triceps on a suicide dive. I mean, that's just like a routine thing.
Right.
Taking a DDT.
No more suicide. The DDT was a scary one.
That's just a routine thing, you know?
I know. And that's kind of the scary one. You know, you do a suicide dive. Oh, you can get rid of suicide dives. You don't need those things.
Yeah.
Don't jump in the crowd. But like, you're going to take a future shock. You know, you're going to take DDTs like that. Yeah. Anyways, he says, when I came back, I said I didn't come back to make friends, but I never thought I'd make a mortal enemy, but I did. And he says, and the only way to end this is Hell in a Cell. He says, I feel naive to think this was over because I touched 4 turnbuckles in Berlin. So they are kind of downplaying the win in Berlin, but it's like, bro, you didn't just touch 4 turnbuckles.
I know, but it's not as decisive as getting that pinned, you know? I know there is a visual tap, but at the same time.
He get him with 4 or 5 GTSs.
He's got to pin him, though.
Anyways, he says, maybe Drew was naive to think this was over because he jumped me in Chicago and tried to drag my wife and dog into this mess. He says, we probably agree it should have stopped the second time he sent me to the hospital 2 weeks ago, but I'm just too stubborn. He says, Drew's fatal mistake is not getting the job done. Now things are drastically different. People ask me, how many Hell in a Cell matches do you have left in you? He says, the honest answer is 0. My family asked me not to do this. Maybe the angel on my shoulder begged me to do this, or begged me not to do this. He says, so armed with all that information, allow me to tell you exactly why I'm going to do this. And he starts talking about, he says, when I was in Portland at last, I sat there and told Drew McIntyre, if you push me far enough, I can become the devil himself. Well, that's happened. The devil's here. The devil in my heart tells me the only way it ends is Hell in a Cell. The same heart Drew said he was going to get to stop beating. He said, Drew, I can't promise I'm going to kill you because I won't make promises I won't deliver on. Here's my promise. I'm going to make you bleed, and I promise you'll have to kill me. I am prepared to die. I'm prepared for this heart to stop beating. I'm prepared for all this to be over with. I had a great career, and this is it, so be it. I'm prepared for this to be the end of CM Punk, and if you're prepared for this to be the end of Drew McIntyre, then I'll see you in hell. Very poetic, very dramatic. I love it. I thought it was great, man.
Yeah, he's totally winning. Then we get a Sheamus interview backstage with Kathy Kelly. He says, you know, I taught Pete Dunne too well. He hit me where it hurts. Not when he smashed my hand or hit me with my shillelagh, but when he took away my dream, the one mountain I have left to climb, as the Intercontinental title become the first WWE Grand Slam champion. There must have been a caveat there he forgot to add about the first because there's been several. It says, now it's time to inflict pain on my protege and for the arena and everyone here, please don't call him Butch. He hates that. He despises being called Butch. When you say Butch over and over again, he doesn't like that. So tonight, Pete Dunne, you become my, I think he said you become my, no, he said that later on. Didn't he? Isn't he call him my bitch? Did he say that here or later on? Because I know Joe Tessitore.
He said that during the match.
Yeah, he did. Because I can't remember if it's Joe or Wade says, oh, he mispronounced. Oh, it's Wade. Oh, he mispronounced Butch.
Yeah, because Joe was like, did you hear? By the way, Tessitore is fucking awesome.
He really hit his stride last night. It seemed like
he really did. There were the shades of Michael Cole where it's like, oh, he's just having fun. I don't think he's got Vince in his ear anymore. He's just having fun out there. Like when he grabbed the Portland Yeet sign.
Yeah, that was great.
You know, the silly innuendo between him and Wade is hilarious. He is fucking good. But then he adds that gravitas to the matches. He does. He is, boy, he's good.
And he knows the names of the moves. It's a small thing, but when you're doing,
it's a very important thing.
But when you're doing play-by-play, that's kind of what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then anyways, Sheamus says, hey, Portland, are you ready for a banger? So his music hits. He comes to the ring. Peter Dunne's next. And Peter Dunne gets the win. He introduces the shillelagh to the ring, but Sheamus hits him with the kneecapper. Sheamus grabs the shillelagh, but the ref's like, hey, you can't use that. Pete rolls out of the ring as the ref grabs the shillelagh. And so Pete grabs a cricket bat from under the ring, and when Sheamus leans over to get him back in, hits Sheamus with it, and then hits Sheamus with the brogue kick, covers him to get the win.
Yeah.
Like it's a protected loss for Sheamus. Pete Dunne gets the win in this feud.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's good for everybody involved.
Yeah, yeah, really great match. It's done wonders for Pete Dunne too. This was sort of ever since he ditched the name. They had him in the tag team with Tyler. I was, I love those guys and I love Tyler, but like that's not. And maybe they'll get back to it when Tyler's done. I think Tyler's out for a while.
Yeah, I think so.
But this is a great trajectory for Pete Dunne right now.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, he's sort of at the same level as Ilya in a way, probably a little bit higher than Ilya, well, definitely higher than Ilya. But that's a feud right there that I'd love to see, Pete Dunne and Ilya.
Yeah, that'd be good stuff. That'd be good.
So after that, we've got some recapping of Priest and Finn from last week, and the Rhea beatdown backstage. The Terror Twins are walking. They bump into Jey Uso. He says, "Hey, I know you got a match with Dominic tonight, Us. You're not going to ask for my help because I know how you get down. He says, I'm going to have eyes on it, though. I got you." And then Woods shows up, daps up Jay, turns to Priest and says, "Look, I know we haven't seen eye to eye in the past, but all three of you have an issue with Judgment Day. Me and Kofi have a shot at the tag titles. We're going to become 13-time tag champions. So please, we want to go it alone. Don't come out there." And Priest says, "I respect that. Do us a favor, though. Whip their asses. Take their titles." And then Jay and Woods walks off. Rhea says, "Yeet." Or she does a very quiet one, and Priest goes, "Hmm."
Yeah. She
That's
does
cute.
the-
Yeah.
Yeet.
She's doing her little thing.
Then after commercial, we're with Miz and Braun backstage. Braun's warming up for his match. He shows off this huge bruise on the inside of his right arm, on his
Yeesh.
elbow and bicep. It's massive. And so Braun says, "Anyways, I'm not making any excuses." And Miz says, "Good luck, but I want to know, what you mean when you said I was no match for Bronson Reed?" And Braun's like, "Oh, no, don't take it out of context. I meant no disrespect." And Miz says, "Well, I won every title. I beat every superstar." And Braun says, "I know you've had a career. I've seen the career you had. What I'm getting at is that it takes a monster to beat a monster." And Miz says, "I'm not a monster, huh? All right, go get him."
I wish Braun was a little less diplomatic.
A little more snark, I know.
Well, not even snark, just blunt. When Miz says, "Hey, what did you mean?" "You're not monster. I'm monster." That's all you need. Just simplify it a little bit. Because I love when Braun was just sort of it's funny because I love him both ways. I like when he's like the normal dude in a body of a monster.
Yeah.
But at the same time, him just shooting down, "You're not a monster. I'm monster."
That'd be pretty funny.
I love this segment though, man. I think, goddamn, they're just giving everybody a little bit of depth. It's one small segment with the Miz. He's wondering, "What do you mean? I'm a highly decorated guy. What do you mean? I'm not I'm outmatched by Bronson Reed." I like that.
Yeah.
Ponta says, "Braun." Mr. Dope gifted a membership to the community. Thank you so much, Dope. We really
Thank you,
appreciate
Mr.
that.
Dope.
Man. Really appreciate it.
Next, we had Zoe Stark taking on Natalya. Natalya gets the win here. She's looking for a sharpshooter. Stark reverses that to a roll-up, but then Natalya reverses that into a roll-up of Roan to get the win. Another L for Pure Fusion Collective.
Yeah, dude, not good. They're a bit of a depth faction.
Seemingly.
Yeah.
So then we're backstage. Kathy's interviewing Rhea and asks about her knee, but Finn walks up. He says, "I can take this from here. Hey, Rhea, I've been meaning to catch up with you, but with me and Damian, I never had a chance. I feel like you're just as bad as Damian Priest. You said we were a family, acted like you cared, but you only cared about yourself. Sick and tired of you blaming me for what went on with Judgment Day. You and Damian are the reason I wasn't world champion last year. You and Damian are the reason you two are no longer champions. You and Damian are the reason for everything over the last few months." And Rhea says, "All right, what I'm not going to do is let you lie blatantly to my face and rewrite history to hide your ego problems. We were a family. All I did was try to make opportunities for all of us, but you fought every single bloody week, but I did it because I loved my family. If you would ignore that so it fits your little story, so be it. But at Bad Blood, you live, Dom. And the other two bozos will see how bad we can truly be." Finn says, "One more thing from me. When Liv was putting the moves on Dom and he was trying to resist, I told him to go with Liv. I told him to leave you. It was me, Rhea."
Real airing of grievances from Finn Balor there, huh?
Really, really was. Festivus come early for Finn Balor.
My goodness. Rude. But then Jay walks up. Says, "Do we have a problem here?" Finn says, "No problem here. Friends catching up." but you might want to focus on the IC title. And he said, you may be a bit out of your league there. And then he nods to Rhea and walks off. And Jey misinterprets that in a major way. So Rhea's like, hey, man, thanks, Uso. I appreciate it. He's got a point, though. And Jey says, what, that you're out of my league? And Rhea scoffs and says, no. What? Burying the lead there a little bit, are we? She says, no, you got to focus on being the IC champ. He's like, oh, no worries. I'm on the way to the ring right now. And then the crowd just going crazy for Jey Uso. He gets on the mic. Says, main event, Jey Uso in your city. Yeet.
Yeet.
Got my match with Bron Breakker. About to be my first IC title. I'm excited about it. I wanted it when I came to Raw. I wanted it when I left the Bloodline. And now I can do it on my own. Get my first singles belt and finally be main event, Jey Uso. He's looking to finish his story. That brings out Bron Breakker. What's your read when he does his opener here? We got any dogs barking in Portland?
He's trying to get a catchphrase to catch on here, you know.
Does he deliver this line with supreme confidence, or is he focus grouping
not.
it? No, he doesn't.
This is a producer coming up to him. He's like, hey, Bron, you need a catchphrase. How about we got any dogs barking in Portland?
Everything else he says sounds so completely genuine and with confidence. This line doesn't.
So we got any dogs barking in Portland?
Yeah. Get
see,
it?
I got the dog in me.
I got the dog in me.
On my leather jackets. Dog.
Listen, Bron, you want to sell yeet levels of merchandise? You got to use the catchphrase. Like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like it's not really my thing. It's like, no, trust me. You want to fill that merchandise bucket?
What about if he says, anybody else in Portland got that dog in them?
He comes out there. Who here loves dogs?
I mean, who doesn't love dogs?
Who doesn't love dogs? Look,
Dogs
I got
are
a
the
dog.
best.
I got a dog. Look at that little dog face back there. Look, I got a little dog face right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right there sleeping away.
So Bron continues, says, I told you to stay away, yet here you are with this relentless pursuit of my Intercontinental title.
I'm sorry, hold on. Cheese Man says, feels like he's asking people, how sore are your feet? Are your dogs barking?
Oh, yeah. So Bron says, so inspiring, try to prove the world and your family. You don't need the help of your family to succeed as a single star. Did my homework since we last spoke. 14 years you've been here. That's a long time. There's no doubt you're a star. They love Yeet.
Yeet.
They love Jey Uso, but I've managed to do more in 6 months as a single star than you have your whole career. Oh, and I did it without my father, my uncle. I didn't need the name. You know why? This is my family. Let's talk about the Intercontinental title. This is what I fight for. I fight for this belt that fights for me. I'm a dog. That's what I do. Next Monday, when we fight for this, I'm going to expose you, Jey. You're nothing without your family.
Yeah, so Jey takes off his yeet glasses.
Get serious, Jey Uso.
Yeah. He says, I see it. I see it in you, Bron. You got that dog in you, Oos. He says, I promise I won't take you lightly, but you've been here 6 months. I've been here 14 years winning championships while you were in diapers, boy. So he thinks Bron is 14. Okay. He says, next week we're throwing hands. Next week for the IC championship, I'm a dog walk your ass. He said, we're going to see what you're made of and see how long this lasts and see if it's just as short as sweet like your NFL career. And Bron's face was everything. And the camera work was great because I think they did kind of a zoom in on him. And he was, whoa, boy, he was pissed.
Not happy.
Tries to play it cool, but he levels Jey with a right hand, screams at him, goes for a spear. But Jey hits one instead. Bron rolls out. Jey poses on the corner with the title as Bron is writhing in pain on the floor.
Yep. Then we get a replay of Damage Control and Unholy Union for 2 weeks ago. Then we see Bianca and Jade backstage. Then Iyo runs up and says, Bianca, how dare you? It's not fair that you want to fight Kairi. She still has an injured eye. You think that's a fair fight? You coward. And Bianca says, I didn't challenge anyone. I was booked in this match. I'm a fighter. I stepped up when my number's called. And since she isn't 100%, how about you step up to me tonight in the ring? And Iyo says, I accept.
I was very happy because at the beginning of the show when they announced that match is happening, look, man, I love we're going to have a conversation about Bianca Belair, man, because this tag situation, it's holding her back. You know, she was main event WrestleMania a couple of years ago. And I get what they're doing, and I love the chemistry with her and Jade. I think it's phenomenal. Maybe there's a situation where she can have her cake and eat it too. You know, they could do the tag title run while Bianca goes on a solo run too.
I mean, that's an interesting story. We've seen it somewhat similarly play out in NXT with Axiom and Nathan Frazier. The tension when you have two single stars join up to be a tag team, and they don't, just because they're a tag team doesn't mean they give up their aspirations as singles wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it's kind of played for laughs at a certain extent in NXT. It's like a gag there. But to, you know, have actual real simmering tension between your tag champs because both of them have designs on being singles champions. Yeah.
Heather says Jade is dragging her down. I didn't say that.
No.
I did not say that. I think the storylines for the tag titles just haven't been all that good. And Bianca is like the focal point of the tag titles, her and Jade. And so I think, I mean, dude, you have like, you've got a 5-star player. You've got somebody who is that next level superstar in Bianca. She needs to be featured on that level with the Rhea Ripleys, with the Baileys, with the Nia Jaxes. And the tag title situation just isn't that. And it's like, I get it. You're bringing Jade along for the in-ring stuff, but at a certain point, man, you got to focus on Bianca, who's been there, who is the star. She should be the star of the company. She should be one of the main characters in WWE. And I mean, I got chills watching that main event, her and Sasha, man. It was so goddamn good.
It was amazing.
And when I see this match with her and Iyo, I'm like, her and Iyo could be main eventing in WrestleMania, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're so goddamn. Her doing the standing suplex or the suplex spot, walking up the stairs. Are you kidding me?
Fantastic, I know.
It was just a stark reminder. It's like, goddamn, do something bigger with her, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. Speaking about not really booking tag titles well, we got that tag team title match next. Judgment Day against the New Day. This is Judgment Day's first defense in 71 days. Won him 71 days ago. Didn't defend him until last night. That's an issue.
Yeah.
An issue.
Yeah, the tag scene. The tag scene needs to get sorted out, man.
It does. Emphasis, please. So, as mentioned, at some point, Dom, Carlito, Liv, they come out. LWO attacks them. And so JD rolls up Woods, gets a 2 there. Woods hits the super kick. Kofi does the trust fall onto everybody on the floor. Woods hits his finisher, but the ref is dealing with all the chaos out in the ringside area, not focused on Woods getting the pin. Doesn't count. So Finn tags himself in after Woods brings the ref in the ring. And then I think Woods is going for what's he going for? Anyways, JD kind of hits him like a backstabber and holds him there. So Finn hits him with the coup de grace to get the win.
Yeah, that was
It was a creative finish.
That was a really cool. Have we seen that before? Because I was like, oh my god, that looks cool.
I think so.
If we have,
but then again, it's the first time they defended their title. So
I know, right? You expect me to remember 71 days ago? Probably not.
No, I don't think they won the tag title match that way either.
Yeah, it was super cool.
So Kofi's checking on Woods. Woods is upset, understandably so, and screaming at Kofi. And as he's leaving the ring, he says, "I'm tired of this. Something's got to change."
Yeah, it was good stuff. After that, we see Bianca and Iyo warming up. Uncle Howdy has a video, shows Bo. Screen reads, "Even now the words of the red grow stronger, whispers like 1,000 voices screaming in silence, guiding the knife until our hands are one and the same. You speak, we follow." And then there's a QR code. I didn't look at the QR code.
I haven't either.
It's a lot to ask. It's not, but I saw. This is terrible. I saw a one of the other wrestling channels out there had a thing that says, "Are the Wyatts going to add a new member?" And I assume I didn't turn it on. I didn't watch it. There's a lot of content out there that, like, maybe the QR code or maybe this right here, "You lead, we follow," suggests that there might be another member of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah.
Who would that be?
Well, Alexa Bliss makes a lot of sense.
If it's a you lead, we follow thing, Alexa Bliss would make a lot of sense. Last time we... No. She was around after that WrestleMania thing where she popped up out of the box.
Yeah.
But I was so intrigued by whatever that meant. And then they just dropped it.
Yeah.
Bray was gone for a long time after that. But yeah, reintroducing Alexa in some sort of like Wyatt Six higher power storyline. It'd be kind of cool. It was me.
Interesting.
It's me all along. That would be really cool. I'd be looking forward to. She seems so interested in doing interesting stuff. You know, I liked Alexa Bliss, man.
Yeah, me too. So then Kathy's backstage trying to interview Kofi, but Kofi's like, I can't now. I'm trying to find Woods. So you hear Woods screaming at the LWO. And Kofi runs up and it's like, hey, what's the deal? And because Woods is yelling, why were you out there? Who told you to come out? And Kofi says, it was me. I told him to be out there. And Woods asks him why. And Kofi says, because Judgment Day beat down Rey Mysterio badly last week. I knew they wanted revenge and that Judgment Day would be out there with numbers game. What would happen if I didn't ask them? And Woods says, now we need help. We never needed help before. Why now? And Kofi says, we didn't before because we had E. It's just me and you. And Woods says, it's just me and you. We don't have E. We're not good enough to be champions. It's just us. Are you saying I'm not good enough? Why does the LWO know the plan for our tag title match, but your tag team partner knows nothing? You've been leaving me in the dark, and I have no clue what the hell is even going on anymore, man. So Woods storms off. Kofi, just stunned.
Yeah, dude.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff, man. After that, we had a Bronson Reed video package, and he just sort of, talks about his story. And then the cooler part about that, I don't care about all the story stuff. These guys just absolutely destroy everything, and it's amazing. It's
like Braun Strowman from 2017.
It is. They threw a guy. They threw a man.
And I like that they made reference to, Braun was the monster around here for years. Bronson Reed is a new monster trying to step up to take down the old monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's Bronson Reed doing all the stuff like Braun used to do all those years ago. Just
He's
destroying
out-brawning. Yeah,
yeah, he is out-brawning Braun.
Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah. So he throws it. So there was like the bit where Reed throws a guy at him. They do a thing. Yeah, because that was when Braun was doing the
shirt he had on?
Yeet. Yep. He got yeeted. Little things, detailed things, man.
Yep.
We appreciate that stuff. Right after that, Reed is just taunting. Strowman charges in and crossbodies Reed through the barricade. That was awesome. And then they help Reed up. Braun rolls back into the ring and starts posing. Reed walks to the back, and then Reed points back to him. Strowman leaves, charges at Reed, pounds him into a bunch of road cases. They keep fighting in the backstage area. Reed is tossed into cases again. Strowman throws a guard over a golf cart, then tips the cart, breaks it. The camera fritzes out.
Yeah,
we go to a new camera. Reed hits a flying splash off a case into some tables. Reed gets to his feet, sort of stumbles over to some hastily erected drywall.
Yeah.
And then, which what's going to happen. And then Strowman gets up and tackles him through the wall. And there is somebody up there, on a platform or something,
pushing some bins and cookie trays.
So a bunch of shit just falls down, and it's a great effect.
It is.
It's a great effect because you don't see the guy up there.
No.
But they go through the wall. Everybody starts freaking out, starts running in. It is phenomenal. It's awesome. Yeah. 2017 all over again, man.
It is. I mean, it's a tried and true formula. You have a couple people doing cool stuff, destroying shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun to watch, and people are going to be invested in it.
Yep, and if Bronson Reed is going to be the new Braun, and they get that 2017 version of Braun right, but with Bronson Reed, and then if they become a tag team,
there you go.
We need a strong tag team division, man. God damn, think of all the cool teams that could exist. If they actually 71, get out of here. 71 days. Get out of here.
Defended those titles 3 times in 71 days.
I agree.
Once.
I agree.
All right, this next segment's very long, so we're not going to do it verbatim. So Pierce is dealing with the aftermath of all destruction. So Ludwig Kaiser walks up and is like, "Hey, have you found an adequate opponent for Gunther yet?" And Pierce is like, I got a lot on my hand. I got a catastrophe right now. And Ludwig says, what's more important than the heavyweight championship? And Pierce says, I'm working on it. In a sense, Gunther doesn't want to face Sami Zayn, but Sami makes a compelling case. And Ludwig says, an adequate opponent? Are you? And you're throwing back to Sami Zayn because it's music hitting, and he's on the TV behind the monitor behind Pierce. So Sami's music hits. He comes to the ring. Pierce says, I'm giving him time to talk about it, and if the champ has such a problem, he could talk to me himself. So Sami comes down and talks about how the segment with Bret Hart last week in Calgary has motivated him even more to become world heavyweight champion. He wants to. No, he needs to be champion. And he brings up WrestleMania, and he says, I don't think Gunther wants this match because I beat him at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And I think part 2 will go down the same way. So Ludwig comes out and puts over Gunther, calls him the most dominant force in WWE, and says, do you want to talk about WrestleMania? That was undoubtedly the greatest night of your career. For the first time and only time, you had your family looking up to you instead of looking down on you. He says, let me give you some advice. Miracles never happen twice, Sami, so take it, run with it, enjoy it, but it's never going to happen again. And then Sami starts trying to drive a wedge between Gunther and Kaiser. Says, well, why are you out here speaking for Gunther? Well, he doesn't need you for anything. And I don't think you need Gunther either. And so Kaiser says, you mean you're talking about my desire to prove myself? You have that too. That's why, Sami says, that's why you turned on Vinci. You're looking to stand on your own 2 feet, showing what you're capable of. You're like us. I get it. Do you think you'll win respect coming out as Gunther's mouthpiece? You want to talk to me? Say something to me? Fine, say it. Don't speak for Gunther. If you're going to come out here, have the balls to speak for yourself. This brings Gunther. He says, I'll have an answer for your challenge in a bit. But is there anything you want to tell me? Talking to Ludwig. And it seems like he's going to confront Gunther about something. And Gunther says, if so, do it now. And then he lifts the mic and says, there's something I want to get off my chest for a very, very long time. Whoop-ah! Punches Sami. Yeah. Hits him with a DDT. And Gunther says, my answer is now and will remain the same. No. So Gunther leaves.
Yeah.
And then Sami wrecks Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. I know you're the Gunther guy around here, but
hey, don't act like you're not a Gunther fan.
Oh, no, dude, what's the thing? I'm a huge Gunther fan. Huge. You're the Gunther stan around here. You're the guy who absolutely adores him above every. You think that he should never lose. I'm in service of a good story. I want to see the guy lose.
Well, that's
at some
the good
point.
story is Gunther never loses.
Okay, right. You're illustrating my point. And I appreciate that. I'm a huge Gunther guy. I wanted Gunther to dethrone the tribal chief, throw your ones up for Roman Reigns, specifically Roman Reigns. I want Larson. No, I demand Gunther to squash this bug. Just to squash this bug. I don't think Sami deserves a shot against Gunther. I really don't. That WrestleMania win, fluke. He had the title for 4 months, and then he gets beaten, 6 minutes by Bron Breakker? Yeah, that was a fluke.
Yeah.
Gunther
was undone by his own hubris.
Right. Yeah, and I wouldn't even say undone. I think that's unfair to the ring general.
I think so too. It took Sami utilizing a move he hasn't used in like a decade plus.
Yes.
To even gain the sliver of advantage enough to pin Gunther. Yes.
Right. And Sami needed the coaching of another WWE superstar. At that point, we're talking about basically a handicap match because he's got the powers of both Chad Gable and Sami Zayn.
Yes, you're talking reason there. It's logic.
Right. So I'm with you on all this stuff. I think at some point he should lose, but I think that he should, number one, not even accept Sami Zayn's challenge. This feud really should just dissolve. And then he moves on to CM Punk or something like that, or Drew McIntyre, whatever. But if this match has to happen, which it seems like the storytelling conventions of wrestling dictate it will, 10 seconds? 15 seconds? Or would you like more time to show this bug Sami Zayn really to prove the point here?
I think that's the route to go, honestly.
Okay, 36 minutes of pure domination.
It's like Brock versus Cena.
Yeah, right.
Triple digit chops.
Wow, 100 plus?
Yeah.
You're saying more than 99, 100 plus?
That would be triple digits, yes.
That's triple digits.
Yeah.
Yeah, triple-digit chops, just double-digit power bombs. And then, of course, to punctuate it all, the pin where he, like, floats on the person.
Yeah, the full body pin. Yeah. He tries to balance his entire body weight on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their approach to we like Sami Zayn a lot.
Oh, one of the best wrestlers
One
there
of the
is.
absolute best. And in the right situations, a hell of a storyteller outside of the ring.
Also, probably up there with Jey Uso for performance of all time in wrestling storyline with the bloodline
so
stuff.
Don't make it sound, I don't want this to seem like that we're not a fan of Sami Zayn.
Love Sami. God, I want to see him get crushed.
This story is, I'm not behind Sami in the least. And it's not so much that he's going up against Gunther, though that's part of it.
Yeah, sure.
It's just kind of generic, boring babyface stuff from Sami. It's not the most interesting.
It's not terribly compelling. And honestly, I do wish that Gunther would lay out his reason why it's no. Because, yeah, dude, you had the title for 4 months. Gunther had it for 666 days. Man, way to drop the ball. Way to not carry on the legacy of the Intercontinental Championship.
Yep.
Disrespected the mat. All that stuff, man.
Yep. So then Priest has an interview backstage, but Liv walks up and she says, "How sad, a former champion doesn't realize he's already a has-been. You know, it wasn't hard to choose between you and me. Two lonely, pathetic, desperate losers hanging on to the only times you were only on top. Embarrassing, don't you think?" And Priest says, "Can't believe someone in Judgment Day has a set. Wow. You should protect it. When Rhea gets her hands on you, she'll shove them down your throat. I don't need you polluting my air. Go find Dom and give him a kiss goodbye. When I put my hands on him, I'm putting your scumbag boyfriend down for good." So before that match, our main event, we get an excellent bout between Bianca Belair, Iyo Sky. It was already good, but when Iyo hit that suicide dive, it kicked up to another level, man.
It really did.
Because, gosh, the velocity with which he hit that suicide dive.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
gosh, that was good.
They're so fucking good. They're so fucking good. They really are. They really are. And it's like, I love that Iyo did get the recognition with the title run. I love that. But like, man, if they put that attention to detail into a Bianca Iyo program, or let's get Bianca Rhea at 41 or whatever. Mm-hmm. God, if you're gonna load it up with the final boss, throw your L's up. Load it up everywhere else on the card. And by the way, I get it. You got Stone Cold for a couple of years ago, and I get it. You got The Rock, and they did the thing night one. But I'm sorry, dude. If you win the Women's Royal Rumble, you main event night one. That's it. And then when whoever wins the Women's Rumble, you put your creative energies into that story, and you elevate it the same way. If you go all in on stuff like they go all in on the women too, man.
Yeah, 1,000%.
You can do that. Bianca Rhea this year or next year, do it.
Yeah.
Get it done, man.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Agree 1,000%. So after Iyo hits that amazing suicide dive, she's looking for a suplex, but then Bianca blocks it. Lifts up Iyo for a suplex, and then walks up the ring steps, holding Iyo upright. Dumps Iyo in the ring. She looks for a 450. Iyo gets her knees up. Io's looking for the moonsault, but then Bianca catches her, looks for a KOD, but Iyo reverses into a small package to get the win.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just the thing where the tag team loses individually, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the time period, if there ever was a time period where Gordon Soley was saying suplex and then started saying suplex?
I love that you're asking.
Because I was watching Valentine Piper, the dog collar match.
Was it suplex then?
He was saying suplex in '83.
Oh, okay. That's a great trivia question. I don't know. We got to narrow that down.
Got to find out. Or is it just kind of, some would say suplex, Gordon Soley would say suplex.
Was he always consistent with it? Did he eventually?
In that match he was.
Right. I mean, like, did he eventually in 85, 86 move on to suplex?
That's the question I'm asking.
Yeah. Suplex is a great way of saying it. I wish that would have stuck,
Then we get a American made. Oh, sorry, but first before that, Priest is warming up for the main event. Rhea walks up and says, "Please tell me you're going to brutalize him." And Priest says, "I'm going to tear him apart. Going to tear the entire Judgment Day apart."
This fucking American made video package killed
Brutus
me,
was
dude.
killing me.
Brutus is a fucking joy. So Gable said, Gable's got the best comedic timing because it's like this really wonderfully filmed thing.
Yeah.
And he says, "Here we are, months after living in my own personal hell." It's just another airing of grievances. Being stalked, mocked, abandoned, tortured. Y'all thought it would be the end, but I'm still standing. Brutus with a big smile on his face says, "That's why you pencil neck geeks will never be on the level we're on."
And he laughs.
Yeah, he laughs. And then Julia says, "No more loony bin inmates, just a bunch of weirdos who traded in their wrestling gear for medical grip socks."
Oh, goodness.
That is funny.
Gable says, "Do you hear me? You can't kill Chad Gable, the American Spirit, or American Made." And Ivy says, "Now that we're done with those 5150 freaks, we bring honor back to the ring." Gable says, "We don't quit. We don't surrender. We don't run from history. We make history. American Made. American Made."
I love that, dude. I love that so much. I'm so happy they're letting these Creed dudes get some personality in. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I always thought Julius was going to be the guy, but Brutus and his little quips. Oh, that face of his is so comedically perfect. It's so great.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So after that, Ludwig is backstage with Kathy. She asks about what Sammy said. He brushes her off, says, "It doesn't matter anymore. Dude, I talked to Pierce. Next week, gonna expose him in front of the entire world. Who does he think? Who does he think he is, questioning my loyalty and talk about my past? You want to talk about loyalty in the past? Let's talk about it." He says, "How about the man you called your best friend, Kevin Owens? Whenever one of you became successful, you jumped at each other and tore each other to pieces because that is who you are, Sammy. I'll show you the entire world. You're just a sad, bitter, jealous man in a flannel because he's going to be what you never are, a world champion." That flannel of Sammy's was like not color safe. Did you notice that? That red was burning my TV.
It was very bright, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So then they advertise what's going to happen next week, and then Jey Uso's walking backstage. Ilya walks up to him. Steve, do you want to do your Ilya here?
I have a terrible Ilya. You can do
All right,
this.
fine. I'll just say, Ilya says, "I just want to say my congratulations for winning the four-way match. The best of luck tonight. Or next week against Bron Breakker." And Jey says, "All right, yeet."
Yeah.
And they fist bump, and then Ilya says, "Yeet to you too." So then Judgment Day walks up and surrounds Ilya and says, "You know what? Getting friendly with Jey Uso, huh? And a full praise for Damian and Rhea. I know you're new here, so here's some advice. Might want to think about who you choose as your friends." And Ilya says, "Friends is a strong word. I respect Damian. I respect Rhea and Jey. That's a lot more if I can say it for any of you." Finn says, "Not now, but it's a friendly reminder. Next time, it won't be delivered nicely. Now we got to take care of your friends."
So
now
Ilya comes out next week in the main event.
21
too.
people ringside.
Everybody, 21 ringside, man, double digits ringside. Oh man! After that, we had our main event: Dom Mysterio versus Damian Priest. And
It's a really fun match.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I kind of feel like it's people, except if you're not Rey Mysterio, the 619 should just be left alone, even for Dom.
If you're not Rey Mysterio or Gunther,
Yeah, Gunther needs to finish Sammy with the 619. That's what
Yes.
needs to happen.
yes.
It's so awkwardy. When you're tall, especially when you're tall like that. I think that's the thing when you're tall like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. So this mayhem, especially towards the end, because everybody's getting involved. Rhea spears Liv over the announce table and takes out Wade Barrett. Priest takes out Carlito. And Dom's looking for a suicide dive. Damian catches that. He throws Dom into Finn. Super kicks Carlito. Priest rolls in, but then Dom sets him up for a 619 and hits it. Looks for a frog splash. Priest avoids, hits the lariat, and then hits the South of Heaven choke slam to get the win. As soon as the threes counted, Judgment Day's in there to beat up Priest. Jay's music hits. He's out to make the save, but he eats a spear from Bron Breakker. And then Finn hits, I don't know, 3-4 coup de grace
A lot
on
of coup de
Damian
grace.
Priest. And Judgment Day stands tall over the Terror Twins as Raw goes off the air.
I thought Raw was really good, man. When you get these episodes where it's like nothing huge and flashy happens, but there's just a lot of really good meat in it,
Progress.
you know?
You need progress in your stories.
Progress.
You got to progress. Otherwise, spin the wheels.
Yeah, man. Anyways, what we can save the AEW stuff for the AEW
I'm
review.
guessing there's probably be more news about it later this week.
I think you're probably right, but it looks like hold on, stop that. It looks like the company's going to be profitable.
Yeah, which is good for AEW and great for the wrestling business.
It's great for the wrestling business. It's great for the wrestling business.
All right, let's answer some questions. Chris Stanton here said, this is a tough one, Steve.
Yeah.
Favorite AC/DC song?
Oh, man. Eric Bischoff's theme song. I'm back.
So I've considered this.
Was that a real AC/DC song, or
No,
was that like that was a fake one, right? Yeah.
I've considered this.
All right.
And by that I mean when within the last a month or two, whenever an AC/DC song comes on the radio, I don't immediately change the station.
Wow, more discipline than I have.
I've considered it. There's exactly one AC/DC song I feel like I could stand to listen to at least 2/3 of it before I get bored and turn it off. Mm-hmm. And that's Thunderstruck. That's the only one I can listen to.
Okay. All right. Is Big Balls? Is that an AC/DC song?
That is. That's the Bon Scott era.
You've got big balls.
Yeah.
Who's got the biggest? Yeah.
We've got the biggest balls of them all.
Look, I know I clown AC/DC. I did it recently on Twitter. I appreciate their legacy. I do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Not
their
my
longevity
thing.
is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And the fans out there, they seem to really like them, at least according to my Twitter. And that's great. Good for you guys. And I don't say that snarkily. Not really my thing. But yeah, Big Balls is a pretty clever song. I like the Big Balls version. Our friend Nate singing at karaoke 15 years ago. I like that version.
yeah, that one's good.
I like the Nate version of it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's see here. Oh, who's it? Devin Morton says Bischoff did use the AC/DC song when he debuted in WWE, but they dubbed over it in all the re-airings. God, they've retconned so much of their history.
Wow. Let's see. Payday here asks, which Sacramento King player or coach do you think could have made an awesome wrestler or manager?
Marcus Cousins.
Yeah.
He was a personality. Personality.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Let's see here. Gorman 93 says, should Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman get an Emmy for their segment last night? If anybody should get an Emmy specifically for last night's episode of Raw, who should it be? I'm gonna give it to Bianca for that, walking up the steps a bit. Remember?
That's pretty amazing.
Man, remember they did that Otis stuff with her?
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it, that was so. And the funny thing is, back then that TV direction was so on point because you did not expect Otis to show up, and then she has to lift that fool up. Oh, that was so funny.
I'm gonna give an Emmy to Kofi and Xavier Woods.
Oh, damn it, that was a good answer. Oh, that's good. Woods was so good.
Asks, while it's sad AJ isn't on TV with the signing of Motor City Machine Guns and the deal with TNA, could you see them trying a TNA invasion angle when the Guns debut? I don't know why Motor City Machine Guns would sign with WWE only to be booked in a TNA angle.
Nah.
They just left there.
They signed. People think they're going to NXT. Nah. They're in their 40s. They're going to WCW, where the legends play.
Oh,
where the Immortals. Where the Immortals play. Look at the adjective.
That's the tweak you put on.
Yeah, man. Let's see here. Oh, what is this? Hello, empty bus seat says with the news that Seth Rollins will be working live events in December. Really?
Oh, really? Good.
That's awesome. He says, how would you guys like to see him return to television?
Oh, he's going to restart his feud with Punk. Last we saw him, he was a GTS, right? No, last we saw him, Bronson Reed laid him out. So probably feud with Bronson Reed short term, but then Punk.
Yeah, they're doing the. Thank God we got a December event, because there's no December pay-per-view, I don't think. But we got Saturday night main event.
Yeah, we do.
What do you think is going to be the main event of Saturday night's main event?
I don't know. December's a long way away, man. It's 3 months away.
Oh, come on. It's never too early to.
Gunther beating CM Punk.
Okay, there you go. Zyshawn Moore says, who do you want American Made to feud with next?
trying to think of a face faction they can feud with.
I mean, they would need somebody else like for the numbers necessarily, but be kind of the New Day are trying to keep it together, and they're like, hey, the Wyatt Six just beat American Made. Let's get into it with them. American Made versus the New Day.
There you go.
And American Made gets a win because New Day can't keep their shit together.
Yeah. Time War here says you're making your entrance for a promo, and during it they cut to a commercial picture-in-picture. What do you do to pass the time before your promo? Sort of like happened to Roman on SmackDown.
You're in the ring. Yeah. I mean,
about.
For you, maybe get out your phone connections.
Yeah. Although you should do that first thing in the morning when I'm drinking my coffee.
You do that along with Wordle?
I do Wordle. I do the new one. Was it Strand? Is that what it's called?
Oh, Lacey loves Strands.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Once you figure out how the theme is implemented, it's pretty straightforward. Then connections, and I save letterbox for the end.
Okay. Well, then you just
I kind of do them.
Letterboxd.
I kind of do them based on degree of difficulty.
Just save Letterbox. Just to be, I'm going to do this in case I show up in the ring and I have to sit through 2 minutes, 3 minutes of commercials.
Ask people ringside, hey, what's a word you can make with these letters?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But you can't use 2 letters on the same side. That makes it more difficult.
Yeah, I don't know.
I always try to make it more difficult and try to solve every one in only 3 words as opposed to however many they say.
You could do the wrestling grid.
Could.
You could do that.
The immaculate grid for the wrestling.
The immaculate grid. Nick asks, do you think Jey Uso actually needs a singles title reign? Fuck
yes.
Yeah. Yes. 1,000% world champion. 2 of them.
Nikyle says, like how McDonald's best suits bad bloodline, what fast food place best suits Judgment Day?
Hapless, but when they deliver, it's oh so good.
All right. What is that in your estimation?
Taco Bell?
I was gonna say Jack in the Box.
When is Jack in the Box oh so good when they deliver?
And Burger King. They got our red bun Whopper wrong.
Yeah, they got my my long boy chicken sandwich wrong one time. They gave me a chicken wrap.
So,
hey, Burger King, that's a good one. But when they get it right, oh man.
Yeah, it delivers.
Their breakfast sandwich.
Impossible Whopper sounds really good right now.
Yeah, dude.
I'm so hungry.
An Impossible Whopper.
Yeah.
They do that because they mask the Impossible flavor well enough.
Well, you just bathe enough mayonnaise, it does the trick.
Let's see here. Zach Steech said, should Sheamus be the guy to eventually dethrone Bron Breakker? No, it should be Jey Uso next week.
Jey Uso.
22 people ringside.
Yeah. Add Sheamus to the mix.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do you think... I don't know about that one. John and Alistair voice says, any wrestlers whose other moves would make for a better finisher than their actual finisher? Yeah, I can think of a bunch of them, to be honest with you. But like one off the top of my head. I could see the Deep Six being a good finish for Baron Corbin instead of the End of Days. But End of Days is an awesome move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Gunther has like 5 different moves he uses for finishers, but
yeah, Gunther is
awesome
awesome because he's kind of finisher-less. He just finishes you.
Every move can be a finisher with Gunther.
Yep. Including triple-digit chops.
Yeah.
Just not machine gun chops. I hate the machine gun chops.
Well, he'll do it like that, but like
you think every one of those can have the impact of...
Yeah, you have a standard chop. So it's like after, one round of machine gun chops, you got hamburger chest.
That'd be good. Speaking of hamburger, Impossible Whoppers, Burger King, I am starving, so I'm out of questions right now.
I'm just hungry, so sure, I'm out of questions too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm out of questions. Right. Oh, anyways, that's going to do it for, who is this? Konosuba says, this is going to, LA Knight needs a new finisher. I'm not a huge billionaire finger trap guy. Not huge on that.
I don't know what else he would use, though.
Oh, it's something else, Once he gets to WCW, tries to go after that Immortals Championship.
Figure 4, then.
Pins him with the figure 4. How about that?
Yeah, pins him with the figure 4. There you go.
Perfect. Anyways, We solved it. That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tomorrow, we got another episode of Hot Takes. Going to be up as a premiere, not a live show. And then on Thursday, we'll be back, of course, with our AEW review. So be sure to hang out with us for that. Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.